Okay, we're gonna go with the citizen comments. And I see we have a lot of citizens here that wish to speak tonight. Usually, we go 1 hour with 5 minutes each. So trying to be fair and trying to give everybody a chance to talk, I think we're gonna reduce the time to 3 minutes each. Yes, sir. Supervisor Grady?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In regards to the appointments proposed by our county executive, which I would suspect many of the people here in the gallery are here to speak on, are these going to be discussed in this room this evening, or will these be referred to committee?
This will be referred to committees.
Thank you.
Okay, with that being said, citizen comments. Any citizen wish to speak? Please speak your name and address.
Veronica King, 5518 34th Avenue, Kenosha, Wisconsin, 53144. Good evening, County Board Supervisors. I'm sure many of you are aware that the pendulum over the last few years has been swinging from a good old boys club to more of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we've seen it at the federal government level. We see it at state government level. We see it at some county and city levels. We see it in corporations and companies. We see it in universities and colleges. But for some reason, we don't see it here in Kenosha County. Kenosha County still has your good old boys club and refuses to incorporate more diversity into appointments and committees. If President Biden can appoint an African American woman to the U.S. Supreme Court, why can't the county of Kenosha appoint an African American female to a volunteer county committee? Shame on you, Kenosha County. Shame on you, county executive. We continue to promote racism in this community. When is it going to stop? What is it going to take? What are you saying? We're not good enough? We're not educated enough? We're not skilled enough? We can't read? We can't write? What is it? And lastly, with regards to the Race and Equity Committee and the report that was submitted that stated African Americans are the most arrested in this county? If that's the case, why aren't African Americans most represented in drug court, veterans court, domestic violence court, mental health court? Why aren't we given the majority of the deferred prosecution agreements in the district attorney's office if we are the most arrested? So those are the types of questions you should be asking, and you should be providing answers to us versus us asking you to go and find out for us why racism continues to run throughout Kenosha County. So do your homework, County Board Supervisors. And don't just rubber stamp appointments that are made by the county executive. Do your jobs as elected officials and make our county more diverse. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments?
George Arf, 7801 88th Avenue, Pleasant Prairie. Mr. Wambold is my supervisor. And I know he's way too smart to jump on the appointment of Albert Gonzalez, who doesn't see racism in Kenosha County. So therefore, he should be put on the Kenosha County Racism Board. Something's wrong there. Second one, Kevin Mathewson, our own Kenosha County lightweight Alex Jones. He's going to be the media representative? Come on, guys. Somebody else I know who's not going to have a problem with this is my District 61 representative and also supervisor for the district she's in. I don't know what that is. But I know that District 61 in Madison includes a lot of these supervisory districts, and she doesn't certainly want all of the crazy progressives fingering her for throwing a couple of idiots on a committee. But then again, since she does over her division or her representative for District 61 to the current county executive who made these suggestions that these two guys end up on there, I'm less sure that you're not going to vote them in than I'm hoping that you will not vote them in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other citizen wish to speak?
Good evening, friends and neighbors. My name is Sam Ruchnick, 6222 10th Street. Apologies if I'm a little selfish with the time. I'll go as fast as I can. I'll skip my background in the Marine Corps and how much I love Kenosha, my adoptive city. I find it disappointing that the current county executive has nominated people to the Racial and Ethnic Equity Commission that don't believe in systemic racism. But I also understand that this is politics, and that a majority of Republicans don't believe in systemic racism. Sadly, modern day disagreement means being okay, disagreeing with our opponent's facts. I'm not here to argue those facts, or even whose facts are more accurate. Mine are, of course. Kidding. No, I can abide and work with a leader who holds a different or even contradictory framework of facts to mine, as long as they serve honorably, safely, and without hatred. It's not a very high bar, so I'm horrified that Executive Kirksman's choice for the position that she's nominating Mathewson for. Outside of what's publicly known about his playing G.I. Joe wannabe during the riots, there's much more disturbing truth about what he regularly does for a living. When I first heard about him, I heard from friends who'd been hurt by him. Surely, I thought, they're just exaggerating with this guy. No one's that much of a jerk. I ran for school board last year, and despite how he treated my friends, I understand that some conservatives look to Mathewson as a news source, so I made myself available for an interview with him. Mistake. Mathewson had an agenda and wrote a dishonest hit piece about me. But as they say, that's politics, baby. Hit pieces are fair game. And as an attorney told me, if you're a candidate or an elected official, people can lie about you. And you're not protected by the same libel laws as civilians are. This is part of the game, so I'm not here to talk about what Mathewson did in his official capacity. I'm here to share what he did to me in private. Turns out the crazy things my friends had shared with me were true. Mathewson comes after you, and he wants to hurt you. He stalks you, both online and in person. He will share lies about you to your friends, family, and professional relationship, oftentimes under fake names. Despite being banned, he uses aliases on Facebook and multiple phone numbers to torment his political opponents and to share lies on social media that are heinous and graphic in nature. Trigger warning, what I'm about to share is graphic and vulgar. In addition to calling me sick and disgusting, he also called me a lust fuck, a beta cuck, and a pussy.
Please
He
keep
went
your...
to, I'm done. That's
keep
all,
it-
sorry,
No,
sir.
no, keep your words
I won't repeat any more of those.
Thank you.
He went on a demented monologue, sending me message after message, saying that my wife is disgusted with me, that she's sleeping around on me, and that he's even recorded me masturbating.
10 seconds.
Wow, it's really been only 3 minutes? Jeez. Well, this man is hateful, violent, dangerous. If common decency doesn't prevent you from opposing this nomination, think about your careers. You'll be tied to him publicly and to what he does. With that, I say goodnight. Thank you all for your service to our community. Yeah, best of luck.
Thank you. Please state your name and address.
My name is Marita Huff. I live at 7939 34th Avenue. With the long-awaited nomination to the Race and Equity Committee, our county executive is furthering the agenda of many of the supervisors, I would imagine, because many of you didn't want to see the commission formed in the first place, and you didn't want a position funded and created to support it. For the more moderate of you, this is a test, perhaps. It appears that the worst possible candidates have been nominated. White men who appear to have no first-hand knowledge of disability or illness or ethnicity or economic struggle, which would have enabled them to have empathy and to serve successfully on this committee. In fact, Mr. Gonzalez stood before this board and stated that he has never been discriminated against and doesn't believe that discrimination is a valid argument for any problem, that personal effort can overcome all obstacles. If you want this commission to fail, vote these men in. If you want to further alienate and disenfranchise many of our fellow citizens, vote these men in. The nomination for the Local Emergency Management Committee is so ridiculous that it doesn't deserve consideration, and the man before me stated that very well. The man who called civilian militias to Kenosha in 2020, an action that led to the deaths of 2 people, a man who uses his news outlet to insult and criticize people, and evidently more than that. Who would want to serve on a committee with this person and then feel that you get to voice your own opinion? God forbid it's not his opinion, because you would probably hear about it through his news outlet. So these nominations are ludicrous. If voted in, the news media of southeastern Wisconsin will make a laughing stock of Kenosha. And I hope that you just don't follow the party line. I hope you use your heads. I know you have them. You're intelligent people. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and address.
Sabrina Landry, 4047 29th Avenue. Good evening, County Board. I appreciate the chance to speak tonight. Firstly, I would like to believe that the Kenosha community is a welcoming one that accepts and embraces cultural and racial diversity. But with these recent appointment recommendations, I can't say that the county executive's decisions reflect that feeling. In light of recent events with a young black woman from Waukesha, these appointments stand opposite from what this community has recently attempted to undo. This community has tried to show that Kenosha is a loving and welcoming place. Our county executive must not share the same feelings. As a recent REEC member stated, we should be insulted by the appointments made by the county executive, as we all should. One of the appointees made by the county executive, one of the appointees has said something to the effect of racism doesn't exist because I've never experienced it. Is it really the best interest of our county to appoint a person to the Racial Ethnic Equity Commission who doesn't believe that racism exists in the first place? As far as the other appointees go, his association with the stain that Kenosha can't seem to get rid of speaks for itself. On that note, how does one get banned from a particular social media platform and subsequently get appointed for a position that requires a social media presence? When this same person in a crisis and emergency situation called for armed citizens to flood downtown after a man who was shot 7 unnecessary times in the back by Kenosha police officers. How's that for emergency response? Then to ask the Kenosha Police Department to allow them to carry on without the threat of being placed under arrest? In a case of emergency and with a social media presence, we want someone who will work within the law, not think they are above it. How are we making Kenosha feel inclusive with all of this? How are we making Kenosha feel safe? I feel we are doing the exact opposite. And if any of you consider poorly written blog to be a form of journalism, then I expect every one of your resignations immediately.
Thank you for your comments. Any other citizen comments? Please state your name and address.
Jose Charo, 5900 Wildwood Drive, Mount Pleasant. And hello, everybody. While LULAC, League of United Latin American Citizens, appreciates the consideration of representation on the Kenosha County Racial and Ethnic Equity Commission, we like to emphasize the candidates for appointment are actually connected and understand the needs of the Kenosha Latino community. If a candidate has stated that there is no issue of racism, then we are concerned, as is representation regarding racial equity in Kenosha. We would like to have candidates that have a history with the Latino community of Kenosha and have established reputation with many Latinos in Kenosha. Therefore, we would like the commission to carefully consider the connections as well as the qualifications of the 2 Latino representatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and address.
My name is Lydia Spotswood. I live in the city of Kenosha. I realize tonight the action proposed by our county executive is to forward 4 nominations to committees of the Common Council, the county board. Before you decide to proceed, I'm pleading with you to consider the relevance of judgment and confirmation bias in these nominations. Mr. Mathewson expects you to ignore plain sight examples of his judgment in action. In August of 2020, demonstrations against perceived racial bias against Jacob Blake devolved into blatantly criminal behavior. Mr. Mathewson drove down from his home in Summers an outraged tourist intent on becoming part of the story. In his judgment, the right response to increasing violence was to use the internet to identify himself as a leader of a non-existent Kenosha Guard and to call on vigilantes from near and far to join in the fray. In his judgment, ramping up the presence of visibly armed people who liberally use the N-word and refer to Black Americans as monkeys in online chat rooms would somehow have a calming effect on the nightmare unfolding in our community. I'm here tonight with people who were not tourists that night. We live in and near the uptown and downtown neighborhoods where the fires were roaring. The response to Kevin's call to arms was predictable. Shouting matches grew more intense and threats of violence escalated between people who don't even live in Kenosha. We literally live blocks away from Sheridan Road, where 2 people were killed and another seriously wounded by a 17-year-old kid who responded to Mr. Mathewson's online bullhorn. Ironically, during this madness, Black members of our community were peacefully marching on 3rd Avenue in our neighborhood. Apparently, Mr. Mathewson is ignorant of the fact that militias are illegal in Wisconsin and in all 50 of these United States. He has demonstrated that he lacks the judgment, knowledge, or temperament to responsibly carry out the duties of any planning body in any local government. Now, switching from judgment to confirmation bias. Recently, in executive committee, supervisors stated that the Racial and Ethnic Equity Commission could get all the data related to Latino arrests and circumstances of arrests online. According to the Wisconsin DOJ and Urban Institute of America, that's simply not true. Wisconsin is not gathering Latino data on prison populations by offense, arrests, probation, or parole. States that only count people as black or white, like we do in Wisconsin.
Time is up.
Oh dear, okay, sorry. I've got information
Thank
to
you.
pass out.
Any other citizens to speak? Please state your name and address.
To all the county board members, my name is Anthony Davis. I live at 5503 86th Place in Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin. I came here to support, number one, what my sister Veronica King has said this evening. To me, it has been a disappointment to see these individuals appointed to these positions here in our community. Why? For one, we have an individual that's being appointed that has been divisive in this community. He has chosen to say things and attack people. And two, we had one candidate here who chose to use this forum here for a campaign, for his own personal gain. Now, I know each individual here, this is not about you, but it's about this community here. We have people that have gone through so much, been through so much, through this unrest, where they felt they were fairly untreated, or just even categorized as people. Now, recently, back last year, I was attacked. Somebody decided to leave a campaign flyer on my front porch. Why? Because I supported somebody they didn't like, or they felt that wasn't the right person for that office as our state senator, our U.S. senator. And then to turn around and find out somebody else was attacked because they had Black Lives Matter information on their front porch. So those that think racism is not alive in this community, you are so sorry to me. Because it's going to continue unless you folks make a change. Make a decision to bring people here who are qualified, people of color, Hispanic that know this community, black that know this community. Those are the people you need to be putting in place. Not because, okay, he's a friend of mine or he has the same political beliefs. I would love to see that happen. This community, I love. I've been here for over 50 years. This has been my home. I'd love to see better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Kennedy. I reside at 4223 29th Avenue, represented by the best county board supervisor that's ever lived, Andy Berg. Love you, baby. I want to talk to you about positive things in our community. I want to come and talk to you about the fact that the state of Wisconsin is giving me $1.3 million to fix Washington Road between Green Bay Road and 32nd Avenue. It's a $1.3 million project. The state's giving us $1.1 million to do that. I want to talk to you about positive things like the renderings that came out in reference to the Kenosha Innovation Neighborhood. I want to talk to you about positive things like when that poor woman got humiliated in our town and what our town did to respond to that. A detailing shop gave her a free detail. Coffee shop said, hey, while you're waiting for the detail, we're going to give you free coffee. A car dealer gave her a free car. That's the kind of stuff I want to talk to you about. I don't want to sit here and speak to you about Kevin Mathewson being appointed to a committee here. I don't want to speak to you about the level of journalism that he experiences or practices in our community. Hey, has anyone here been a subject of the journalism of Kevin Mathewson? I have. This appointment is bothersome on so many levels. You have my letter. You have the letter I shared with the county exec. that's coming here, speaking to people who probably think I'm foolish to say this, who, when the votes are taken, we know what's going to happen. So why am I here? Why am I doing this? Because there's a defect in my head. I just can't sit back and let things happen. My mother would be ashamed of me. Journalism, when done well, informs and educates. His reporting is often used to bully, belittle, and incite. He is the media representative to this committee. You are legitimizing his efforts. I'd ask that when this goes to committee, that you don't bring it out of committee. And again, I'd ask the county exec to please rescind these appointments. I'm speaking about Kevin Mathewson in particular, but the other two also. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen wish to speak? Any others? Please state your name and address.
Huh? Say, good? All right, for
Yeah.
sure. My name is, well, people know me as Corey Elijah. My name's Corey Washington, for those that say I hide my identity and all that stuff. Although my name's the only one in the world spelled this way, it is what it is. I'm going to be brief. I wasn't expecting to talk. The stream wanted me to speak to you really quick. I'm just going to keep it real with you folks. I see what's going on. I've had some of these backroom conversations and meetings with some of these people that are even on this board. I know you guys are secretly working on your agenda, doing what you're going to do anyways. I just want the community to know that although it is unfortunate that these people are going to continue to vie for power and use the grossest tactics possible to do it, we will prevail eventually. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow. We may have to deal with Slugman until 2026 because we know they're going to do whatever they want to do. Just know that people like myself and all of the people that spoke today are serious about how they feel. I've never been in this room before. I imagine I'll come here a lot more because, again, the people on the stream, the people in the community asked me to come here. I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk about Slugman, but this is where we're at. Again, I don't want to do this, but some of you know, and you know who I'm talking about, what you've done and the type of things you do and the gross tactics that you utilize and the gross people you keep around you. I'm not an activist. I'm a person who identifies as himself. I'm Corey. I've never faked to be a media personality or an outlet or anything. I've never claimed to be an activist. I risked my life going in the community, and I was called a BLM activist, even though I've never claimed anything. I am a black man, and that's all I was, but apparently being a black man means you're an activist. It's completely ridiculous that Slugman is even being appointed, but again, it's the cabal, it's the backroom conversations. This has been planned out probably since 2020. Again, you know who you are. You know there's a paper trail. You know there's a record of the conversations. We know the people that you keep around you. We know the people that agree to things but say, hey, don't put my name on it. I don't want to be represented that way. We know. I don't want to have to come and do this type of stuff, but I've had enough, and everybody here has had enough. I want to talk about video games and fun stuff, not corruption.
10 seconds.
But we're talking about corruption, and if you think we don't know, we know it's corruption. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen wish to speak? Please state your name and address.
Always. It's nice to be here. I'm Heidi Helgeson, 6507 40th Avenue. I'm going to start out by addressing you, Chairperson Nudo, directly, because I've been in this room and heard you call for order and calm. I've listened to you chide folks for inappropriate behavior, urging folks to act with decorum and respect, not to laugh at others. And then this, really, this nomination to the Emergency Planning Committee, what could be more disrespectful and ridiculous? This, the self-acclaimed head poobah of an illegal militia. Yes, illegal. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 15 of the Constitution. Some of you folks love to quote. The Congress shall have power to provide for calling forth the militia. It's not a self-appointment. This, a person thrown off the city council for committing fraud. This, a person who allegedly has a dozen pseudonyms all over Facebook and email. And why? Because he's been banned from Facebook. This person who has numerous allegations of doxing, which is illegally using private information and posting it out in the public. What is the status of this person's private investigator license? It should be revoked. This person who is being represented in a lawsuit by a sitting county supervisor. I'll just say it out loud, conflict of interest. This person who can't even seem to have a conversation with someone with whom he disagrees without calling them criminal, evil, thieving, bound to rot in hell. True or not, is this the person we want interacting in a public forum like this? Not so much. Of the 100,000 or so residents in Kenosha County, Kirkman selected this. We all know this is a distraction. It's a joke. It's only made more pathetic by that person campaigning for a volunteer position. And honestly, in the last several months, this county board has had so many problems, just rife with problems. We've got a defamation lawsuit that's been paid for by a county or a political party, and then a big switch of who's in charge of that party. We have a couple of supervisors that don't even think they have to live in their district. I think that's fraud. When are y'all going to do something about that? Okay, now I'm good and mad. I thank you for your time. Have a good day.
Thank you for your comments. Hopefully you're applauding for the nice comments you made about me. Next speaker, please.
Thank you. My name is Carolyn Felt, 3807 Van Buren Road. John O'Day is my supervisor. First, I really just want to thank you all for thoughtfully listening to us tonight. The attention you're giving us and your thoughtfulness is appreciated by all of us. Thank you. With last year's election, Kenosha County flipped the county executive seat and this board majority from progressive to conservative. Over half the voters were looking forward to conservatives improving upon the vision and the accomplishments of the previous liberal-leaning leadership. And good for us. We get to disagree about how to make government better. There's not only one way. That's our democracy. But the opposition to these appointment decisions that you're hearing tonight is not your same old divisive Democrat-Republican split. This practice of appointing and promoting friends, agitators, people opposed to the very principles of their appointed commissions, saboteurs, is not thoughtful, effective conservatism. It's cronyism, which is bad government, no matter which party does it. Reject these 3 appointments here and now. Don't feed this cancer anymore. Don't send them to committee tonight. You can do it. Go on record as rejecting this kind of cronyism. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments? Please state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Ruby Becker. I reside at 1807 81st Street, Kenosha, Wisconsin. I'm 17 years old. I'm a senior at Tremper High School and also an employee of Kenosha Unified School District's Communications Department. Kevin Mathewson's journalism is blatantly disrespectful and it's pathetic. And to those of you that support the appointment of Kevin Mathewson, you are also pathetic, and I hope that you change your mind, please, because it's sad that me, a 17-year-old, has more common sense than some of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments? Any other citizen comments? Please state your name and address.
Cedric Phillips, 1361 54th Street of Kenosha.
Can you get closer to the microphone, please?
Cedric Phillips, 1361 54th Street, Kenosha. I've dealt over the years bridging the gap with financial literacy in the community as far as helping minorities understand financial literacy, how to build credit, and things like that as far as trying to leverage in the community. I've dealt with Kevin Mathewson as far as, I should say, being an enemy to him. I feel like he's a political bully. He only targets people that can't defend themselves, and that shouldn't be someone that should join this committee or in this community. I feel like there's things that need to be bridged in this gap. 2019 USA Today named the worst cities for African Americans. Number 2 was Racine, Wisconsin. Number 1 was Milwaukee. I felt like Kenosha should have been on that list. I feel like there's no resources as far as minority, as far as Latino, and as far as people that are trying to bridge a gap in the community. And doing what I've been doing for 2.5 years as far as helping people in the community from Southeast Wisconsin, from Milwaukee to Kenosha to Racine, I feel like there should be more resources. Kevin Mathewson does unauthorized background checks on people and mocks them on social media. I feel like there's things that should be addressed as far as that, and that name carries a distasteful taste in people's mouths. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Any other citizen wish to speak? Any other citizen?
I didn't write. Can you hold on? Let me write my name because I didn't earlier. My name is Russ Hahn. I'm a resident of Kenosha at 6600 3rd Avenue in Kenosha. I'm tired. That's what I want to let you guys know tonight. I'm tired. I've had a lot of sleepless nights over the last week. The first was when I found out about the events at NH Auto Sales, the horrible treatment of an African-American woman in Waukesha by a proprietor of a business here in Kenosha. I had another sleepless night when I heard about the treatment of the representatives of the Racial Inequity Commission on Tuesday night by the Executive Committee, belittling them, refusing to accept the information they're providing, refusing to consider very appropriate recommendations suggested by them. And then I had another sleepless night on Friday nights with these suggested appointments. My father-in-law is dying. I would love to be with my wife right now, with him in the last few days of his life, but you people here keep doing crazier and crazier things. It was bad enough that you decided, well, let's get as many armed people as possible in county buildings. It was bad enough that we decided, well, let's allow the county board executive to make it much easier to fire people for no cause whatsoever. I complained at the time, well, let's make sure we don't lose our, at least the head of the county Department of Health. She's done so much fantastic work during the COVID crisis. Well, she's gone now, isn't she? And to appoint someone to a committee who has said that racism doesn't exist in Kenosha, and that even if it did, it would not be the proper functioning of government to attempt to reduce that racism, that person doesn't belong on a racial Ethnic Equity Commission, to appoint someone whose primary act of public service has been to promote murderous vigilantism in our town, and to promote someone to the Emergency Planning Commission who has been one of the most dangerous persons to be in Kenosha, one of the most incendiary and violence-promoting persons in Kenosha, is just an outrage. I don't want to have to be here every board meeting, okay? Now, all these people shouldn't have to come out every 2 weeks to oppose the next crazy thing that you do, okay? Give us a break. Allow us to get some sleep. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Any other citizen wish to speak? State your name and address.
Kate Woods, 3908 51st Avenue, Kenosha, Wisconsin, 53144. I just have 3 observations. First of all, can you please get a better sound system? Because I can hardly hear anybody, okay? I ask that every time. The second observation is, I totally lost what I was going to say. I'll go to the third one. There's a lot of people here that are angry, and I wonder if there was somebody else sitting at that chair, maybe a Democrat, would everybody be sitting here complaining? Please, if you're going to complain, come up with a solution as well. You know, these are people like you. They just want to go home at the end of the day. And for the gentleman who wants to be with his wife, wherever he is now, go. Nobody's making him come here. And I guess the second observation that I saw was not everybody was standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, and yet they have the audacity to come up here and tell you what you need to do. And they don't even have the respect to stand for the American flag and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Shame on you. Thank you.
Any other citizen wish to speak? Any other citizen wish to speak? Please state your name and address.
My name is Julia Woolridge, 6860 91st Street, Pleasant Prairie. I have never been in this building, and this is my first time. I was brought here. My spirit called me here. And I want to address you guys because I have sat here and listened to everybody give you guys reasons of how these people were even thought to be on this committee and that they're actually being voted on is a joke. Kenosha has been viral so many times. We need to be proud of Kenosha, not be thinking about how we're thinking of who's going to represent us in our committee, a racial committee, which obviously we need. We need that. But then to have people that believe that there's no racism in Kenosha, how could that even be possible? That's got to be a joke. It's not. They're actually being voted on. How? And all of you guys here, we're all holding you accountable. We vote. So that's for everybody here. We have to vote to make sure that these people who are not taking our word and our thoughts into account, we hold them accountable. That's everybody. We're all in this. And I'm so proud of everybody that came up here and stood for what is right, regardless of race. I would love to say it's not about race, but it is right now. We are talking about a committee that's going to be sitting down talking about racism, and we don't even have anybody on the committee that actually knows about racism. Corey, a community member who goes out all the time. Nobody's appointed him. I'm not saying that he wanted to, but I'm just saying there's plenty of people, especially because it is volunteer-based. Plenty of people who could be appointed, who could actually do good for our community. We are holding you guys accountable. Do better, please.
Thank you. Any other citizen wish to speak? Please state your name and address.
Chuck Gunlock, 12121 2nd Avenue, Pleasant Prairie. So I've listened to a lot of basically complaining here tonight, But yet, I've gone to these committee meetings myself, almost every one in the last year, and I haven't seen anybody but 1 or 2 people here at that meeting. So if you want to complain, go to that meeting, and you'll listen to nothing.
Please speak into the microphone.
They argue with one another. They debate about words. They debate about what a word means. There's people that actually quit recently that actually used racist remarks in the meeting towards people of white color. That's wrong. And they're on the actual committee. Go to the meetings. It's ridiculous. I would say the committee doesn't even need to exist in its form right now, whether there's the 2 other people get put on there or not, as it is right now. And if you'd actually go to the meetings, you would agree with me. Shaking your head? People
It's
wear
okay,
black
just-
power hats at the meeting, and then people say that's fine, that's okay. That individual was a retired Army veteran. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I think that's ridiculous. There's racism, but a lot of it has to do with what you are. Okay? I spent time all over the world, all over the United States, came from Milwaukee, and this place is worse than Milwaukee right now, the way it is, the way people are talking. It's all in your heads as far as the committee goes. If you go to the committee, you'd see a lot different than what you're thinking right now. So I would say that we need to look at the actual committee, not the actual members going in or the members going that are there already, but look at the actual committee. Have people here actually go to the committee. Not just the ones, I know there's certain people that are on the committee already, but people that are otherwise here that might vote against it. Go to the meetings and see what's there. And there would be a lot different conversation up here. Because we need people that are going to make a change, not just vote on the committee, literally. They vote for one thing and it's their own agenda. It's not neutral, it's not equity, it's not equal. It's politics. I've seen it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments? Any other citizen comments?
Laverne Jarris, 324 116th Street, Pleasant Prairie. I wasn't going to speak today because everybody else is so much more articulate, but I do have to respond that it wouldn't matter to me whether it's a Republican or a Democrat at that chair, and I don't think it matters to other people here. They would still have concerns about the quality of people being appointed to our county committees and representing Kenosha County. The other thing with regard to what the gentleman just said about the committee, certainly if he feels that it's not effective, you don't appoint other people who are less qualified to make that committee more effective. You appoint people of quality. That's not what's happening. What the nominations are a slap in the face to people of color, to the community as a whole, to the families who are affected by the slurs that Kevin Mathewson is addressing and by the actions of Brian Gonzalez. Please act appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and address.
My name is Kenny Harper, address 3105 85th Street, Kenosha. I didn't plan on coming up to speak today. I'm a local business owner and just community member that's been in this community for over 20 years. And I didn't plan on speaking because I didn't feel like I needed to. I didn't want to come up and add another complaint, but I really wanted to, first of all, rebut the comments of the gentleman that spoke previously and let him know that racism does exist in this community. I've experienced it with my children. I've experienced it with myself. I experience it every day. Racism is alive and well. Now, the problem is a lot of people are afraid to speak up and voice their opinion on racism. Sure, everybody has an opinion about what should happen, how this should work, excuse me, and how different things should go on in this community. A lot of these committees aren't representative of what Kenosha looks like. I'm here to say that you're right. We need to have solutions. We need to have more than just problems. We need to be representative of what Kenosha looks like. And a racial and equity commission needs to be representative of what Kenosha looks like and what the racial makeup of Kenosha is. And it needs to have people that experience racism so they understand what racism is, how it feels. Have you ever been in a situation where your children, you have to explain to your children what racism is and have to calm them down after racial incidents, being called the N-word or anything like that? Probably not. So I just urge this committee, and again, you're right, sir. Maybe we should be at these meetings. Maybe we should show up. Maybe there should be a better representation. So I take it upon myself and say, you're right, I'll meet you at the next meeting. But again, I want to again add solutions and say that, you know, a lot of Kenosha is not represented in government, and that I just ask that you guys continue to push that mission and understand that there's members of the community that would be eager to represent and eager to share a voice. I thank you for your time today. You guys have a good night.
Thank you. Any other citizen wish to speak? Please state your name and address.
Hello, my name is Joel Truell, 8201 43rd Avenue, Kenosha. And I just wanted to say thank you to the supervisors that are holding the line in here, that are trying to do the best they can with what they've been given. Some of you supervisors know who you are, that I'm talking about. Those in the community here, we're grateful for that. Otherwise, I'd like to say that I've attended, I think, a majority of the REEC committee meetings, and I don't really remember seeing you there. I think I've spoken at most of them, too. So whatever that was, I don't know what that was. We have a problem in Kenosha. If you look at the stats that committee put out, we've gotten worse at arresting African-American youths from 2020 to 2022. I think we've increased it by like 2% or something like that. So the data and the facts are not on the side of appointing a cop who has killed somebody or a big lie Republican attorney. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen wish to speak? Any other citizen wish to speak? Any other citizen wish to speak?
Good evening.
Please state your name and address.
This microphone, I don't know much about microphones. If you could turn the volume up a little bit and maybe turn the treble. Okay. My name's Louis Regani. I live at 4526 29th Avenue. Is this okay? Can you hear me right?
Yes.
And I want to thank you all for your service. And I want to say that I remembered something that happened when I was a little kid. Well, not that little. American Motors was founded in 1954. That's not news. That happened in February of that year. Two struggling, dying car companies came together. That's not what I want to tell you about. There's a guy in New York, Walter Winchell, one of the hottest newscasters. He said, if this merger doesn't happen and it doesn't make money and this new American Motors Corporation fails, Kenosha is going to be a ghost town. Said that on the air all over the United States and Canada. Ghost town. Since then, the people buckled down, elected people who were strong enough to make sure that the city would remain strong despite this guy in New York. By the way, when he died, one person went to his funeral. And then later on, American Motors faded and died. But look at Kenosha. It died. I think most people in Kenosha now are from other parts of the country. Illinois, got plenty. People from the surrounding area, people from distant areas, because you know I have a hobby. I talk to people. Where are you from, I say? I don't know, I live on 34th Avenue. No, I mean from. Oh, I'm from Aberdeen, South Dakota. I'm from Hamilton, New Jersey. I'm from Gary, Indiana. They came here because they wanted to. We got 5 colleges now that didn't exist then. Carthage, Gateway, Parkside, Herzing, and Concordia. 5, this is a college town now. Who would have thought that back when we had all these industries? Kenosha reinvented itself. Look at the tourism here. Last year, Kenosha made almost $250 million by people coming here to enjoy themselves. Because they wanted to. We've got that attraction. When I was a kid, everybody looked at Racine as being the model town. The word we always heard, oh, Kenosha's so backwards. Backwards. Racine, look, got to be like Racine. Racine, look at, now guess who Racine looks up to? Back then we had 56,000 people when I was 15. Racine had 90,000. Now who's got the 100,000? And now who's got 60,000? I predict in 10 more years, Kenosha is going to be the 3rd biggest city in Wisconsin. We almost made it, surpassing Green Bay. That's going to be something. They're pretty popular and they're pretty advantageous up there. What they offer tourism.
10 seconds.
I just want to thank you for all you do. People are coming here because they want to. We're doing something right. Let's keep it that way.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments? Any other citizen comments? Any other citizen comments? Citizen comments are closed.